How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews, back with yet another review. Another barrel age review. Another barrel age review from Demented Brewing, and it is their Wrath. Russian Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels. Super excited to give this a whirl. I believe this is the fourth one I've done from them. I did a Scotch barrel age in Scotch barrels. I did a Belgian dark. Aged in some kind of barrel brandy, I think it was. I did one that I wasn't a big fan of, which was they called it Flanders. Didn't really land for me, but this is the last one, I guess, in the series that they did. It's a Russian Imperial Stout aged in bourbon barrels. The other ones were pretty awesome, except for that one that was a little bit off for me. So I'm super excited to give it a whirl. As far as what it says in the bottle itself, it says Wrath, Russian Imperial Stout, aged in bourbon barrels, 11% alcohol by volume. It says, let's see, it's bottle 1,761 of, who knows, it was bottled 3/31, 2016. This is 4/1/2017, so it is pretty much on the nose, 1 year old. And it says here, Wrath, our big, bold Russian Imperial Stout, aged in bourbon barrels, peaks at 11% ABV. Experience rich roasted flavors to shine through in the alcohol and bourbon to sweep across your palate. Pair this beer in a nice meal or share it with a friend, but be warned of its wrath. It's okay. I dig it, but it's pretty much all their labels are for this series. And the cans that I saw are pretty much the same thing, just a little bit of verbiage difference. Obviously, the cans are in cans and the bottles are in bottles. And we get the super thick wax up here. See if we can work through this, get through this relatively easily. Kind of stab at it and see what happens real quick. You figured I'd have a kind of serrated wine cutter here, wax cutter. I would use that in a more traditional sense. But I didn't realize with beer a lot of times, you can't really, you can cut it with the wax cutter, but rarely do you actually get it underneath the cap good enough to actually get a hold of it to kind of pop that cap off. So usually I just tear at it like a monster. Be a little bit rough around the edges, I guess you'd say. And, enough to where you can get a hold. Once you get a hold of it, screw the rest of it, get a good base, and just kind of tear that cap up. Peel that cap like your body count, Throw that little glass up there. Give it a good spin. See what she's got. Well, first things first. It's not pouring like a Russian Imperial Stout. It might taste that way, but it's very light. It's not motor oil or even close to it. Poured more like Belgian-esque kind of color. Pinky finger, really tight compact tab. Had creaminess for as thick as it is. It's pretty thin, so get that creaminess on there. It's pretty nice, and it's kind of like malted malt ball, center malted malt ball color. And like I said, it's more like Belgian double in color. You're not going to be able to get it on camera, but definitely more brownish and not super, super dark brown. So, yeah. Let's see what the nose has. Chocolate malt, but made with almost like a heavy cream, kind of soured cream kind of thing. It's not sour as in sour beer. It's almost like sour and milky. No bourbon. That can get so far. A little bit of sweet roasted malts, and that's pretty much it. No barrel, no bourbon. A little bit almost like a slightly soured kind of lactose vibe to it. And that'd be that. Interesting. If you gave me this nose and I smelt it, I'd be like, small ABV milk stout. That's where I would have went with this. I would have assumed, all things considered. So, pretty interesting nose there. Hopefully the mouth has something more to show. Let's see what she's got. Cheers. Definitely more robust in the mouth based off the nose, but it's still kind of weird. Get bourbon in the mouth, absolutely. You get that little bit of cherry, you get a little bit of boozy cherry. Maybe a little bit of oak, smack my palate, so maybe I can get a little kind of oakiness, kind of dryness from that oak. The base is, I wouldn't call it a stout even. I'd call it a porter, maybe an Imperial porter. Definitely not a Russian Imperial Stout. Is that a bad thing? in the grand scheme of things, who gives a fuck as long as it tastes nice? But yeah, I like it. I dig it. I'm not blown away by it as I were the Scotch and the Belgian. But it's nice. The mouthfeel is like it's not thin. It's more fluffy like a porter. That's why I'm getting porter vibes off of it. It's got a nice kind of a vibrance to the bourbon in the mouth. I didn't really get it on the nose, but it's there, and it's fun. It's interesting. I like it. I dig it. It's definitely just not what you'd expect from a Russian Imperial Stout. Definitely more kind of like porter-esque. 11%. Kind of surprised at that. I mean, they get a little bit of bourbon kind of heat on there. So, you can kind of tell there's a little bit of ABV-ness going on there. But, yeah, I can get with it. They're talking about on the side here, it says big, bold Russian Imperial Stout. I wouldn't go that way. It's more of like a Baltic Porter, actually. That's where I would blame it. It's more of like a Baltic Porter. Kind of like a Hoogerstadt and Puder kind of thing with a little bit of bourbon going on. But yeah, it's nice. Yeah, porter mouthfeel, sweet, sweet malts, not much bittering to it, but enough bittering when you get that kind of pop from that the sweet cherry-ish kind of bourbon. It balances it off enough, and that's pretty much it. Not too shabby, but definitely not as robust or as meaty or as impactful as the other two that I've had. So let's talk about it. Is it one of the better barrel-aged Russian Imperial Stouts I've ever had? No. I mean, there's King of Kings for me. Do you know what I mean? There's, even non-barrel-aged Russian Imperial Stouts that, blow me away. This is a very nice beer. And if you told me this was a barrel-aged Baltic Porter, it would be in the mix. But Russian Imperial Stouts, which is what they call it, not so much. But it's a very nice beer. It's more, I've had some really banging Russian Imperial Stouts that kind of outdo this one. More than this beer isn't up to the snuff. Value and availability. Bought it secondhand. Not quite sure. Maybe someone down there can chime in and just say, if you like what we like this. If you like old school Baltic porters, Hoogerstadt and Puder, and the like, even like it's not as small as that beer, but it's not as big as Framing Hammer from Jack's Abbey. It's somewhere in between. But the barreling's nice, the booze is nice, the beer is well made. So if you like those kind of beers, if you like Russian Imperial Stouts and Baltic Porters, you like that kind of mix in there, and you wish you had something that was locally made. If you're in the northeast area of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, yada, 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 then it's definitely worth picking up because, like I said, their Belgian was off the hook. The Scotch was absolutely fantastic. This is great. So the whole barrel aging program there definitely seems like it's something that is something to keep your eye on. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. If you didn't, anywhere in between, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Untapped, Massive Beers, and all 4 of those places in here. Another review down. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a nice barrel-aged beer right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers.